Well, last year, 2018, the probable president of the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, have allegedly dismissed the concept of white monopoly capital. He was in the essence of trying to imply that white monopoly capital doesn't exist. He says that and emphasizes that there is no state capture, there is no white monopoly capital in South Africa, especially. So I'm going to be proving to you, or literally arguing with you, about how this white monopoly capital really does exist, and South Africa is really captured, and not only just captured but owned. It's like a property, it belongs to some rich capitalists. So it is rather ridiculous for people like Cyril Ramaphosa to say that white monopoly capital does not exist. It is far more ridiculous for so-called smart blacks to say that white monopoly capital does not exist. It is far more ridiculous for Europeans to say that white monopoly capital does not exist. It is far more ridiculous for everybody to say that white monopoly capital does not exist. I tell you, it does exist and it's real. It is in the essence that who is the richest person in the country? What is his influence in the country? And what does he own in the country? That's what monopoly is. One person owning a large amount of land, one person owning most resources in the country, and ending up being the investor who says that if you do this, I'm going to withdraw my investments in such a way that he will affect the country to act in a specific way, to legislate in a specific way, and to govern in a specific way. I put it to you that white monopoly capital exists, especially in South Africa, in the instance that the Europeans are the one who own most properties in the country, are the one who are politically rich in the country. Let me give you an example about ShopRite. It's owned by a white man, Christo Wiese. Let me give you an example about Pick n Pay South Africa. It is owned by Raymond Ackerman. You can name them. Go to the internet and question these things. Ask yourself, who owns this? Who owns this? Who owns this? Who owns this? Ask yourself those kind of questions and group them together. Group the facts together. Well, because I cannot research everything on your behalf. Go to the internet and research, Google. Ask these people who owns what. Who owns what. You will find out that Europeans owns almost of every big companies in the country. Owns almost of private mines, mineral mines in South Africa. The Rothschild own mineral mines in South Africa. The Oppenheimers owns most big companies in South Africa. Europeans, do your research, Europeans own most big companies in the country, and ultimately they own the country, politically so. That is why they have the power to control what you watch, what you listen to, and what you eat. Because they own almost everything. They own the land. That is why they threaten the government of pulling back their investments if ever the South African government decides to expropriate the land from them without compensation. When the land is expropriated, everything upon it is also expropriated. When you expropriate a land on which the Rothschilds owns a gold mine, that gold mine is also being expropriated. And that person will be deprived of such gold mine. And in that way, they will be losing money, right? They will be losing wealth. They will be losing their monopoly. In that essence, we will be destroying the white power structure in the country. When we take the land and put it in the state custodianship. That is why they are opposing this whole idea. The rich capitalists are opposing this idea of us expropriating the land from them, because they want to maintain their white power structure. The reason why the ANC won the election is not because black South Africans really wanted the ANC to win the elections. It is in the essence that the kind of media that the enemy promotes, or the kind of media promotes ideologies that will make black South Africans to vote for the DA and the ANC of Ramaphosa, their most trusted smart black in the ANC. Let me give you examples. They spread all these ridiculous ideologies, that fear-instilling ideologies, that if ever we expropriate land from Europeans without compensation, somehow the Europeans are going to pull back their investments and white farmers are going to leave the country. And ultimately, South Africa will end up like Zimbabwe. That is the idea that their media promoted, to instill fear in the minds of our people. And when you have instilled fear in a person, you control them, and you can never say that they had a choice. Our people voted for the ANC not because they love the ANC, but because they are scared of the change. Why are they scared? Because the media that is in the hands of the oppressor, the media that is in the hands of white monopoly capital, promulgates such kind of fear into their minds. They own the hell out of you. So that is really what white monopoly capital is. I own most of the country's wealth. I own enough wealth to be able to can control you. Whenever you try to legislate, or whenever you try to govern in a specific manner that I think will affect me negatively, I tell you that I'm going to pull back my investments if you do that. So it is in such a way that if I have investments, if I'm the one who is investing in South Africa, then I am the one who is controlling South Africa. Then the whole majority, the whole black majority, the whole of South African black mass of our people don't really have a choice. The rich capitalists are the one who decides what happens and what does not happen, what we should legislate and what we should not legislate, how the government should run and how it shall not run. Because it is in the essence that their ideologies, their best interests are always met. Because if their ideologies are not met, they say that they're going to pull back their investments. We all know how the ANC, we all know how the media try to convince people that we need investments from these people. Maybe we do. And if we do, that is how they control you. That is how they control your country. That is how they control us. Dependence. If we depend on a white power structure, then we're not really free. A person who does not have independence can never make independent decisions. So it is redundant to even say that our people on the 8th of May 2019, they had a choice and they voted for the ANC. No, they did not have a choice, because they